Hello, everyone. I want to share this thought that I've been sitting with. This is inspired by, I didn't read the post, but I just saw the title, The Breaking Point, something that Eric Myers wrote about. And I was thinking, oh, the breaking point, that's a very good concept. And I've been really sitting with this edge, this idea that we all have this edge in terms of where we can successfully regulate ourselves. Just think about the metaphor of a young child that's being bullied and pushed and made fun of every day in school. They might respond to it as, I don't want to add more violence. I'm not going to be reactive, or I'm going to be the higher one and not take it personally. But as long as there is still some growth there, there's going to be some pressure, some tension that needs to find a way out, right? Like if it hurts to be told, hey, weak kid, you're so short, right? If it hurts, you can only for so long be non-responsive. You can only for so long just let it pass by you. And, maybe it passes and a few minutes later, you feel it, you breathe, it moves on. But there's a threshold for all of us. It's not an objective, measurable threshold. It's just a threshold. We can only hold so much stress at one time in our life. And when there's a perpetual, like this Pluto Mars, buildup of tension, buildup of stress, we can only do so much to keep ourselves grounded and regulated and clear and choose the higher path. And so I really want to speak to this idea of a breaking point. We find these edges where we don't have the ability to hold it, to keep it together. There is a way of tracking, noticing that we're getting there. And ideally, if we're able to notice that we're getting there, it is no sign of weakness to be able to withdraw from the circumstances of your life and come back to yourself, self-care, nurturance, the things that help you to process and move this energy. Otherwise, if we're ignoring those signals, we're going to be pushing down and repressing a whole lot of stress that inevitably, even with our best of intentions, even the best spiritual person will have that point where they just kind of reach that edge and they can't hold it down together anymore. Ideally, it comes, it passes, we realize, oh, that wasn't great. That's not how I want to behave. Why did this happen? What happened in my life that I got here? And I think it's really important that we don't allow these crisis points, either where other people act in very harsh or intense ways, or if we find ourselves doing that we're able to maturely and quickly come back to a place of, okay, this is a lot of stress, a lot of energy, a lot of pressure that I haven't fully learned how to work with. I'm being pushed on a psychological level beyond my threshold to even understand what it is I'm healing or working with. I want to respect, and the word respect is a good word here. I want to respect the potency of this evolutionary transition and learn to take better care and tend to the process even better. How can I anchor myself more deeply in my soul? How can I anchor myself more deeply in the necessary care, nurturance, and rest and replenishment that will allow me to discharge and process and move through all of the content that's arising right now? This isn't about pushing ourselves to get beyond it or get to the core, get to the bottom line, because I don't think we will. A lot of what's arising right now is just the beginning of a deep process of soul evolution. When Mars and Pluto enter Aquarius and Leo, that's going to be a whole new level of activation, and we're going to be in this journey for many months. So we're not going to get to the bottom line of this. We have to yield ourselves to the process, and thus again respect that an evolutionary transition by its very nature is going to be pushing up the hard places. So something that I'm learning in the absolute messiness and the imperfection of my own work is coming back to recognize, okay, here's an edge. Here's something that I haven't mastered. Here's where the content or the challenges or the circumstances of my life are pointing back to where there's something more to learn and realize about my own power and my own strength. Let's just allow ourselves to be good students. Being a good student, being a willing and a ready learner is the remedy to suffering. Because suffering, in a sense, says we're going to repeat the same challenges and the circumstances over and over and over again because we haven't learned the gift that they're actually here to teach us. Right? To be a good learner supposes that everything in life in its highest interpretation is actually here to help us and heal us. Not being a good learner means we don't really understand that. We don't understand that the harshness and the intensity that arises in life isn't for its own purpose. It's not to punish us. That life isn't out here to get us. So just to, again, have some patience with ourselves and appreciate that we all have that boiling over point. We all have that edge where we just can't hold it anymore, where we might be in burnout, where we might not be able to maintain that self-regulation. And in its highest understanding, that can just simply teach us, okay, how do I not get there? What can I be tending to along the... And that's a very Cancer Capricorn way of thinking, right? I mean, just if you have children, you know that point where your child is just simply going to be dysregulated, right? If they've gone too long and they're hungry or they're overly tired. And so, okay, if that's happening, you deal with it. And you can't resist it. Like if a child is feeling the stress of dysregulation because they're hungry, tired, lonely, you can't make them not that. You don't want to make them not that. They need you to be there for them and hold down what they cannot hold down. That's the ideal response. So actually holding them oftentimes is what's needed, literally. And then moving back into a place of regulation, but it requires a lot of care and attention. And then, okay, how do we not get to that place? What's the structural reality? And that's the empowered agency that we're learning to bring into our life, so that we're actually learning to create a path, an evolutionary journey for ourselves that doesn't require extremes as the way to learn. Like the good learner will recognize, oh, I don't need to create extremes in order to learn these beautiful lessons of who I am and how to live in more power and agency. I can understand from experience and even from other people's experience where things are going, and I can begin to internalize the teachings now before they have to get louder. All right, those are some reflections that I felt to share. A couple of announcements. I have my Planets that Square the Nodes series coming up, but you can also purchase individual classes. So my first class next week will be on Pluto Square the Nodes. You can join the entire series, or if you'd like to just drop into that class, you can check all of that out in the description below. As always, thank you for watching.